Okay, so we're up to Ois Gimel. So we're discussing over here the pasuk of Be'er Chafarua Sorim Karun Divi'om, that it's the level of Yaakov, the level of Rachmanis, the Ovis, they're called. He's going to explain now the rest of the pasuk along those lines. Hine mina be'er hazois, from this well, al yidei chafirazu, through this digging, nase gilui b'chinas mayim chayim. So we get the revelation of living water. What does it mean? That the water remains alive, as he's going to explain. Sometimes without that level of digging, without that level of bittul, so then you have a temporary excitement, but then it dies down. The difference between Mayim Chayim and not Mayim Chayim is Mayim Chayim, as I said before, is never stops. It's always there. Not Mayim Chayim is talking about a place that it can be for a certain amount of time and then it dries out. So even when it's there, it's not called Mayim Chayim. So basically, Mayim Chayim means it's living water, means that the water is always there. So the point of here is that his oirus that he has, the excitement that he has from the davening doesn't stop after he finishes davening. It keeps on going. Shuhu kiyim yoiser, that is more sustained, it stays longer. This is more than the love with a sparkling fire. When you have a great excitement in the davening, you reflect. That's still not Mayim Chayim, because over there, after the davening, that excitement passes and it goes away, and that's it. But when we talk about the level of Mayim, Heim Hamshochas, I think it should say Mayim, but Chayim, but Mayim, this level of Mayim, the level of Mayim Chayim, Heim Hamshochas Ahavo She'ein Lo Hefsek. This is the continuation of the love without an interruption. Bezuhi Milas Avraham Oyavi Isha Chesed. And this is the advantage of Avraham Oyavi, that Isha Chesed, that it's more than just his bonus reflection, but rather it's a level of Mayim that is sustained, that keeps on going. As we say, Zchoir of remember the father who was drawn after you like water. This water means the idea of continuous flow. We're talking about the Midas Rachmanos, but we're saying Yaakov redeems Avram. Why Davke Avram? Because Avram is the Midas HaChesed, and the Midas HaChesed is the permanent. So the level of Rachmanis brings about the level, the revelation of Avram Mitzvah Chesed. V'ayin b'rabbis v'yeda parsha memches. In Medrash Rabbah, in v'yeda parsha memches, it says, "Ato marto yukach no matmai." The Eibishter says to Avram, "You said, let's take a little water. Chayecho, I promise you, shani perei levanecha chulu. I am going to pay back your children. Also, ali be'er." And so that the well would come up, so they'll get the mayim. V'ayinshom gamkim soy parshim dalet. V'ayin oid me'inya li be'er berabis chayisore parsha samach, and b'shalach parsha chofei, and rosh parshas bamidbar, and rosh parshas bamidbar shlach lucha, and rosh parsha yud zayin, and in shlach lucha, in the Resh Parsha Yud Zayin, over Parshas Chukas, over Parshas Ekev, the Pasuk Shema Yisrael, Ato Oiver Hayoim, Ubekeheles Rabbis Parshas Shlach Lachmocho Al Pnei Hamayim. Behainu. So why is the taka this permanence by the mayim, by the level of chesed? Lifi shehei mayim chayim, because they're mayim, living water. What does mayim chayim mean? Shemekablim mechochmo shenikra chayim. They receive, the water comes, they receive from chochma, which is called chayim. What's the association of chochma with chayim? Chochma to chayim. The pasuk says chochma vitalizes, or we say ba'oir pnei melech chayim. What does this all mean? The hainu bechinas koyach, bechinas bittul koyach ma. The chochma is koyach ma, a level of subjugation. Basically, through the level of subjugation, you have this mayim chayim, this continuous coming from the level of malchus. Which occurs to be mokum achar al posik, which after mayim besosit, beinyan nisuch hamayim bechag. So there it says, eich shehi bechinas ahava shalamaylam berish be'eish. How that the level of mayim besosit is ahava, which is higher than the rish be'eish. Ukamosh laben kshu eitz lovi mamash chulu. Like the son when he's by his father. Okay, there's the different levels. So how does a person get this level of this Mayim Chayim? How does this revealed in the soul of the person? By occupation, by learning Torah. The Raisa mechochma nafkes bebechinas bittul. Velochein nimshach mimeno gilu zeh benefesh ha'odam bebechinas v'lo yisachalalu. That when the person learns Torah, and he learns Torah in a level of bittul, Torah is the level of subjugation. So therefore, by the person comes through the word loisachalalu, don't make a cholol, don't make a hole, don't make a gap. Not to push away the feet of the Shechina. It says that when a person is arrogant, doesn't have bittul, so then then Hashem can't be there. So we're learning Torah in a way of bittul, and so that you don't push away the feet of the Shechina, and you come to the level of Osim Dvarai Bificha Chulu, as the pasuk says, my words in your mouth, which means you become a channel, a vehicle for the words of Hashem directly, without having your own mitzias over there, without having this level of bittul. So basically, the isbonenus in the tefillah is one thing that's not a sustained, but the level of Mayim Chayim, which is level of bittul, that comes from the level of Torah, and learning Torah in a way of bittul, and then you have it sustained, that it lasts through. The parshas Kaddish Li Shu Chochma Ilah, the four portions know that the word Kaddish Li Kodesh is the level of Chochma Ilah. Nemar, over there it says Uli Zikorein Beineinecha, so that the Torah should be a Zikorein, you remember between your eyes, so you should remember, which means the Hainu She'ein Hefsek La'ava Ki Be'er Mayim Chaim Shnei Tomid, that there is no interruption to that love, just like a well of Mayim Chaim, which constantly flow. Through that which is written afterwards, so that the Torah shall be bificha, that brings about the level of continuous, which is kosuf, the Sifri, Parshas V'Eschanan, as the Sifri, the section of V'Eschanan, the portion of V'Eschanan says, the fish who oimer v'ahavta es Hashem, the pasuk says love Hashem, but any idea be'ezet tzadevim as HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in what way, in what side, how do we love the Eibishter? So therefore Talmud Loimar, That's why the pasuk teaches us that because this way, then you know Hashem. Then you're going to love Hashem because you're going to know Hashem. How are you going to know Hashem? That's what the phrase is. Torah, which is Chochmah, which is Torah, is a level of seeing. And once you see Va'ava HaNimshach Mebchinas Siriyah, Mebchinas Bittul, and the Ava that comes from the level of seeing is a level of Bittul. V'hi L'maylo Mebchinas Ava HaNimshachas Mebchinas Shmiyah. And that's higher than the level of Ava, which comes to the level of Shmiyah. She'i Merachik, that is from a distance. V'bchinas Rishpei Eish. That's the level of a sparkling fire. That's the level of Shmiyah. That's the level from a distance. The level of Bittul, a level of Riyah is from close by, and that's a higher level, a level of Bittul, it continues. So we say lirois. Lirois is bechinas re'iyah, in a way of vision. These galus in Sobaruch and the revelation of Sobaruch. That's through the Torah. So you have that level of re'iyah. That's what he's trying to say. That through the level of Torah, you have the level of ava, which comes from the level of re'iyah, which is higher than the ava that comes through his burners, through the level of tefillah. And the revelation of this level of Maim Chaim of the Torah, Nimshach Mehabe'er Hahi, that extends from that Be'er Shenevas B'tachas La'oretz, that comes from under the ground, which is Ubchinas HaMitzvahs HaMelubashim Binyonim HaGashmim. So the Torah comes out in mitzvahs because the Torah teaches us how to do the mitzvahs. So this revelation of the Torah, the Maim Chaim, comes out through the mitzvahs. The mitzvahs are in the ground, the Gashmis, the mitzvahs, which are in the ground and they're refined. Because what is Torah? That is the explanation of the mitzvahs. And from that, so the Maim Chaim, the Torah, flows. Liyas bechinas bittul, to be the level of bittul. I said before, both that it should be connected and together with Hashem, but the Osim Dvorai should be Dvorai Beficha. So basically, the Torah inspires the mitzvahs, that the mitzvahs should be in a way of bittul, and the mitzvahs are the be'er, or they come from the be'er, which comes underneath the ground, which is the Gashmizik mitzvahs. Then Emar, and about this, it is said, "Vayoymahu yetzu mahim chayim miYerushalayim." On that day, the living waters will come from Yerushalayim. Chetzim al Yam HaKadmoni. Half of that will go to the Yam HaKadmoni. Kimayim chayim shel haTorah hamelubeshes begashmis. This Mayim Chaim of the Torah, which is dressed up in Gashmis now, Yumshuchu milmato l'maylo el hayom hakadmoni. So to the Yam HaKadmoni, the earlier Yam, they will receive, the Yam will receive from the Be'er, basically, from the Mayim Chaim, from the Torah, which is the physical Torah, that will actually feed, that will give the water, the Chaim, to the Yam. And the Yam HaKadmoni, Yebechinas Mekabel, Bechinas Mayim Chaim Shalamato, so that the Yam HaKadmoni will be the recipient. So instead of the Yam giving the water coming from the ocean is going to get, the Yama Kadmoni is going to get from the Be'er, from the mitzvahs, from the Torah, which is the Gashmis. Why? Inyan, Kamosha Kosu. Like it says in the Pasuk, Oz Nidberu Chulu, when the Yirei Hashem, they speak to each other. So we say, Vayakshiv Hashem Vayishma. God listens, pays attention, and he listens. So we're not understood. Why does Hashem need to listen to the Torah below? The Torah comes from Hashem. So it says, when the people learn Torah over here below, the Gashmis in this world, Hashem pays attention and listens. Why does Hashem have to listen to the Torah over here when he's the one that gives the Torah? Elohinya. The idea is, Kinei HaKadosh Baruch Hu nikro lip'omim b'chinas mimalekul alam. It's called sometimes the level of mimalekul alam. B'ayin zoyer chelik beis b'shalach ma'avad m'gishmelach shom. So, this Torah of this world, because it dresses up in physical matter, that's why its root is very high. And that's why it draws down the powers of its vitality from the blessed light of the Ein Sof from higher and higher, which means so what does it mean? So this means Vayakshiv Hashem Vayishma. Basically, that we were bringing down from the level of higher of Soiviv into the level of Mamalo. So I guess this is also why I don't think he's going to go back to it to explain this, but this is also why the answer to the question, what's going to be by Yoimahu, how's it going to be Makabel Maim Chaim Shalamato? Because in a way, the Torah Shalamato is in a higher level because it gets Maila, it gets from the level of the Ein Sof, and that's why the Yama Kadmani will be a Makabel from Chinas Chaim Shalamato. And that's why it is Yakshav Hashem Yishmat, meaning to bring down the higher level into the level of Memalek Kulam. V'zeu inyan b'mechoykek b'mishanoisom. I think what he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the form of Likra Malkul Almim, that's why when we say by Yakshiv Hashem by Yishma, that it comes from the level of Hashem by Yishma into the level of Kuchbrichu, into the level of Malkul Almim, because the Malkul Almim is that level of that is being sustained from Soviv Kulam to Malkul. V'zeu inyan b'mechoykek b'mishanoisom. It says further in the pasuk, Adber karu asorim chafaru nedive am b'mechoykek b'mishanoisom. It's going to touch now about the b'mechoykek and the mishanoisom. K'meshikosu al pasuk im b'chokoisai talechu. So over there, when the text says, if you go in my statue, Ainli Pashas B'Chukoisai, Dibra Hamaschel Mevur Beitz Chai, Sheshnei Chakikas Likli, Al Derech Moshe. There's two engravings that when you make a vessel, you have to engrave twice. Al Derech Moshe, Al Derech Moshe, Mebayis, You have to inside and the outside. Outside you engrave is mechutz, he calls it engraving, but it means lahavir kol chaluda. You want to remove all rust. Ubifnim, and the inside is lachkba beis kibul, is to engrave a place to receive. It should be a keli to receive. So kach tzorich liyas chakikas hanefesh mibachutz. You also need to engrave the soul from the outside, which means lahavir kol meneya umastir chulum. V'hu b'chinas chafira hanal. That is the level of chafira that we talked about, berkaru chafarua. And then you have umi bifnim liyos b'chinas keli kibul eir in sobarchu. And bifnim means to become a vessel to receive the light of the Ein Sof. Liyos kli machzik bracha, to be a klei machzik bracha. Ve'ein Ein Sof baruch hu shoyda mizgala ela b'chinas chochma koyachma. So, how are you going to get the bracha? How are you going to make the kibbul? You have to have the level of chochma, level of bittul. And the mechoykek who makes the vessel into a receptacle, that is mevat, that brings down the keli, makes it into a vessel. So basically, is this whole mayim chayim that we say that it's a level of bittul, the level of chokhmah, is b'mechoykek, is by engraving yourself in the outside to remove all external obstacles, and engraving inside to become a keli for the level of chokhmah, so that the level of bittul will be, that's what, then you're going to get the Ein Sof. So Moshe is called the mechoykek. Because in the Pashas, the mechoykek is Moshe Rabbeinu, because Moshe is the one that made the chukim, was the engraver. V'aymash l'kosol is bar l'kamon apostle Moshe Yidaber. V'ayin oid me'inyan mechoykek b'inyan mechoykek b'zerech el gimel so Pashas Vayelech Reish Parsha Reish Vov Aleph Pashas Ba'alois Chadav Kufno. Further, it says b'mishanoisom. Mishanoisom, their supporter. Those are the supporters of the Torah. Mishanoisom means leaning, those who support the Torah. Ein Zohar Chelekal Tav Ches V'D Aleph. Say Eitz Chaim Hi Lamachazikim Bo. Those who hold on to it, those who support it. Inyan Shenemar Yisachar Uzvulam. Like it's written with regards to Yisachar and Zvulun. So Mibnei Yisachar Hayu HaSanhedrin. They were from the sons of Yisachar, those were the Sanhedrin. Uzvulun Alidei Shahaya Isaac Hadei Shahaya Isaac Beparmak Matya Bishvil Yisrael, by occupying himself in the business of Bishvil Yisachar, meaning he supported Yisachar. Zachav and his ale b'maile yoser b'bchina achas. So in one way, in one level, he married and he was in a greater level. Dahainu b'bchinas mimata l'maila. When you look from below to above, Yisachar was Zvulun was high Yisachar. Shemipnei shal yidei hashpos tuve b'chayusay. Because through his flow of his goodness and his energy, Yisachar was able to occupy the Torah with this vitality that was extended to him. So then Zvulun comes before because he gives the vitality for his Torah. How could he sustain the Torah? Comes through Zvulun. And so in that aspect, Zvulun is greater than Yisachar. Vayim is a Berabbis, and Vayichi is Seif Parshat Tzadik Tes, and Zohar Chelik Aleph, Ches Aleph, and Vayichi Daf Reish Mem Aleph Beis, and Chelik Gimel, Metzoyer and Gimel Amid Beis. Vayim Mashakosu Seif Divra Maschil Kyo Deidi Gab Mekapetz Chagvois. V'lochein Nemar B'Zvulun Amim Har Yikro. Har is the mountain of Hashem. Amim means even those who are nations, which means Oimemois, even those who are separate, they too climb the mountains, which means because of their support of the Zavulun, Pirush. It means, Aderech Mashenemar, similar to what it says, Mi, Yala Bahar Hashem, Yokem Chulu. So there it says, who can go up to the mountain of Hashem? But by Zvulun, it says, no, they're going up. Avol Gab Zvulun. But with regard to Zvulun, Afilu B'chinas Amim, even the level of Amim, which is Oimemois, Yikro, they too will. Oimemois meaning those, the coals when they're starting to go out. In other words, they're not even on fire, they're separated already from the fire. They too, Yikroru, will call v'yisasu l'bchinas haravaya. They will come to haravaya. Not like mi yala b'haravaya. They will go up. Amim harikro. They will come to the haravaya. All these levels of be'er mematal l'maylo. You need arousal from above before serus al tato. Oz Yoshir Yisrael. So when we're saying this is Yisrael de Leila, Yisrael above is giving Hamshocha Milmaila. Ayin Zoyar Chelik Beis on Dal Aleph. Ali Beir. So Milmaila, Yisrael Milmaila is saying, come up Beir. That brings the Yisrael that there should be Milmata Lamaila. Knesses Yisrael. So he says, Ali Be'er, who should come up? That's the Knesses Yisrael. Ali Be'er, the Knesses Yisrael, Mokoir, Neshamis Yisrael. It's a source of the Neshamis Yisrael. Sheknesses, Vaisefes, Letoicha, B'chinas Yisrael de Le'ela. She includes in herself and gathers in the Yisrael de Le'ela into the level of that Be'er, into the level of Knesset Yisrael, through the Yisrael de Le'ela of above. And Allah, that's Milmata L'mayla. Anullah. Anullah, they told her, Milmata L'mata. Liyos Yisaruso Dilatato Le'ela, Shalifnei, Saruso Dilatato, Shabizrus Le'ela before the Dilatato. In order for it to be Ali Be'er Matlamayla, you have the Anullah. Mamer Azal, as our sages tell us, if not for Hashem's help, we would not be able to overcome. So we need the Yisrus Leila from Yisrael Leila, Ali Be'er, so that we can later go up. Rabbi Chaim Wolosow Allah Perik Zayin u'B'Zeir Chelik Gimel Sei Parshat Vayelach. And this is what we are requesting with Tefillah. Return us with the complete Shuvah. Give us the understanding. We should understand Bina to understand one thing from the other things. We don't even understand what a Rahmana, what a pity there is on. The great pity that is upon us, we don't understand what a pity it is on us. We can't even wake up. We can't even start saying, oh, what a pity on us, We need Hashem, Barachamecha, Rabim, Rachem Aleinu, that He should bring us back. The Serusa del Eilazu, Yaidei Hamshachas HaTorah, through the Hamshachas HaTorah. Chochma Beroish v'Chochma Besoif, which is a known, it's a concept in Kabbalah, Chochma Iloh, Chochma Tator, Chochma Malchus. But here, Beroish, that comes from the Yisrus Leila. That's the beginning. That's the bittul that we get from Yisrus Leila. That comes before Yisrus Tata. Chochma B'Soif, that's through the Yisrus Tata we have Yisrus Leila. Hiya Be'er Shechafarua Karua B'Mechoykek Mishanoisom. Yotzu Maim Chaim, because the Maim Chaim comes out. That's the Chochma B'Soif. Ba'ayin B'Zoyer B'Reish That Chavav Mit Beis. Ba'ayin Mashechosu Pashnosu Sev Demaskos Baruch Be'inya Bracha B'Reish and Bracha B'Soif. Ba'ayin B'Zoyer V'Yakar Dav Kuf Tzadik Zayin Beis Me'inya Korun Divi Om. Ba'ayin Mashechosu Parsha V'Yakar Sev Demaskos Chum Itchem B'Pirish Kol Nidiv Liba Yuviyaho. Ubishir Hashirim Apostle Mayofa B'Mayich Ban Olim Bas Nediv Chulu. V'ayin Oid Zayer Chelik Gimel Yutes Omed Beis and Chavav Omed Aleph and Chelik Aleph Reish Lamed Aleph Reish Lamed Hey Aleph Chelik Beis Kuf Yud Gimel Soif Omed Beis Kuf Yud Dalet Chelik Gimel Reish Lamed Hey Omed Beis. Okay.